Hi and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to service this Giant Propel. This is, sort of thing we do on a daily basis, and we just thought we'd show you what we kind of do. So we go through a bike front to back and we check every single nut and bolt where possible. However, in the case of this stem crown here, it's got a fitting on there that had got a GoPro fitting, and we actually couldn't do the bottom two, but we checked the top two, they were fine. Check the stem bolts, there's a little cap on here which is a little cover for the cables, etc. Just make sure everything's tight. And so we go back, right through the bike. You'll see the importance of the service here. That bolt there is loose, so potentially that saddle could have dropped down. If you're in the middle of an event you've been training for months for and your saddle drops, it's going to ruin the day. Look at this saddle clamp here as well, loose. We torque everything up with the torque wrench to manufacturer's spec, so we get it absolutely spot on. And now we're just checking the gears, seeing where they're going. We drop it into the smallest gear whenever we remove a wheel. It just reminds you where you took it out, and it's actually the easiest way to get a wheel out of derailleur. So we torque the cassette and of course the brake disc. This was a bit curious. The bike had some blue electrical tape down this seat post here, down the seat stay I should say, and so we peeled that off because it was wavy, and it's to protect the frame from a tyre. The tyres on this bike were a little bit big for the frame, I think, but I replaced this with a nice black tape and got it in line. I don't know how come it was so wavy before, but I kind of did it like a pinstripe where you hold it at one end and just dab it in the middle to get the line straight, and then stick it on. And then I washed this rear triangle down on the inside, because you can do that an awful lot easier without the wheel in there, especially when there's very little clearance on the tyre. I've noticed this little tag hanging, fraying on the cable end, so we fitted a new cable end there before refitting the wheel. And then the through axles go through there, and then we start to just check the indexing on the gears, which actually on this bike the rear indexing was okay. I think I made some adjustments on the front. We just made a B-screw adjustment on the rear derailleur as well, which you'll see in a second. The gap between the derailleur and the cassette has to be set to a correct distance, so we just adjusted that. And then the discs themselves were a little bit grimy. We had actually previously, to start the video, we'd actually fitted new brake pads in this bike because the owner had damaged the head on the axle that holds the pads, and we'd already repaired that, and then he asked us to service it, so we decided to video it. So yeah, that was why. So now we just wash off the rest of the bike, just inside those forks there. Yeah, next week we've got a full strip down of the bike we're expecting in this week, and we're going to video that. That'll be a full strip down and rebuild of a bike, and literally down to frame with a full detailing. It's going to be quite a long video, that one, to produce, and I hope you look forward to that next week. Now, for some reason on this one there was absolutely no pressure in the front brake whatsoever. It needed bleeding, so this is what you're seeing here. Shimano is actually really easy to bleed because it is a gravity fed system, so you don't really need the syringes so much as sometimes you do. You have to force the air through, but with this one it's gravity fed, so you can see the beige sort of coloured brake fluid in there, and you can see the bubbles coming out of there. I mean, it was full of bubbles. So we worked right through our new fluid, which you can see is a slight green colour. It's a slightly different make of mineral oil, but I like using that because I can tell when I've completely replaced the oil in the system. So we got all the bubbles out, got that all working nicely, and you can see there's very little fuss, very little mess with this. It's just a time consuming, lengthy process really to get all the bubbles out. But we just wipe that over with a sponge just to make sure there's no oil left on that lever, and you can see that brake is now spot on. If you are a new viewer to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment, share it on your social medias, do all the right things to help our channel grow. Thank you for being here if you're already a subscriber, and we're quite enjoying our YouTube channel. We enjoy making these videos. It's a father-son bonding thing. We're loving it. So now we just torque up the pedal arms and the pedals themselves. One of these is a left-handed thread, so you need a torque wrench that goes both ways. Oil in the chain here. It's a little technique where I use a rag and a little spray, and then we just oil the pivot points on the derailleur. I think a lot of these are now almost like a life, like not really needing lubricating, but I still do it anyway because it's good practice really. and we just check all the fittings, accessories, pump the tyres up, you know, the services every single nut and bolt. We don't have tiers of servicing, we just do one tier of servicing, and it is a bike speed service. If you want your bike serviced, you want it done right. So we don't mess around with tierage systems, we do everything. And then I just refinished this bar tape because it had red electrical tape on there which didn't match the orange of the bike anyway, so I got rid of that. So we got rid of the blue tape, we got rid of the red tape, and we smartened this bike up. And then we just give it a little wash over, microfiber towel, and this is the way we like to present our serviced bikes. Yeah, they come up lovely once they're just washed over. You get a bike back that's ready to ride and presentable. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.